Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. In this week's news, Oxford Township loses both a past trustee and a community friend. And who is Addison's unknown musician? And the village wants to sell more property.
Stay tuned, learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. Longtime public activist and township trustee Susan Bellairs passed away last week from a battle she couldn't win. She died of cancer at the age of 68. Known by her township colleagues and friends as a tireless worker serving 4 elected terms on the Oxford Township Board of Trustees, Bellairs was a staunch fighter of rights and justice for those she served. Predeceased by her husband William E. Bellairs, Jr., Mrs. Bellairs is survived by 2 loving daughters and 5 grandchildren. Needless to say, she will be gravely missed by the entire community.
Here's something I bet you didn't know. Joe Schnurr, a popular public presence in Addison Township, has yet another surprise to add to a very long list of talents, which include woodcarver, ski patrol, violinist, and naturalist. Last week at the Addison Township Library, Mr. Schnurr demonstrated his expert ability to play one of the most difficult instruments to play, the bagpipes. While Mr. Schnurr says he has no Irish or Scottish blood in him, he delighted library guests by playing an entire assortment of Irish and Scottish tunes that he said he learned in order to entertain his friends. Schnurr says he's 1/2 Lebanese, 1/4 German, and 1/4 French, which appears to make a pretty good combination for a multi-talented guy. Thanks, Joe.
And last week, Oxford Village Council set aside proposals to sell 3 village-owned properties on Dayton Street. The sale of 2 of the properties were approved by voters at the November 2016 election. However, a 3rd property was originally planned to be on the same ballot but was mistakenly overlooked. Consequently, Council felt a property evaluation of the lot was needed to determine if the property's value is over the calculated $17,000. If it is, it would require a ballot approval vote by the Oxford Village residents to allow it to be sold. As a resident in the Dayton neighborhood, Councilwoman Maureen Helmuth said she would like to see at least one of the properties be used for the kids' playground.
Leonard Elementary sprung into spring last week with its annual spring fair. Kids enjoyed playing games, face painting, music, and more. Kids took turns trying to stay on a mechanical bull, trying not to get lost in an inflatable obstacle course, and slugging the ball out of the park at the baseball pitching cage. Everyone had a great time welcoming spring.
It seems we were a little premature when we announced a candidate living in North Carolina was going to accept the Oxford Downtown Development Authority DDA Director position. Sherry Soldrowski from the Hillsborough, North Carolina, declined the offer. DDA board is again searching for an acceptable replacement for the past director, Joe Frost.
Because the Oxford Village Council voted last month not to renew village manager Joe Young's contract, he will be leaving the village at the end of this month to take the position of village manager for Lake Orion. While council has not yet advertised or posted Young's position, they now find themselves without a replacement, which by village charter they must do by April 1st. In addition, village clerk treasurer Susan Nasser had already given her notice to resign to Young prior to his release. Last week, council went into a closed session meeting to discuss Nasser's position. No motion was made at the open session with regard to Nasser's position, and Young's job will be posted as soon as the village attorney, Bob Davis, reviews the wording. OCTV will keep you updated on the status of the village administration.
And people living on Pearl Street in Oxford might want to use a little extra caution lately. Several residents have reported seeing a white male in his late 30s wearing jeans and an orange coat and brown backpack, sneakers, and sneaking around, peeping in windows. Police have placed an extra patrol in the area.
Also, everyone should be aware that someone is passing bogus $100 bills at local businesses. The Lake Orion Police Department has alerted Oxford and other community retailers to be on the lookout because someone has already passed at least 2 such fake bills within the local area. So keep an eye on your $100 bills. That's it for Oxford News this week. If you want to learn more about these stories and others, stop by your local store and pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper, or better yet, you can catch us right here at Charter Channel 191 or AT&T Channel 99.
And coming up next on OCTV, catch Oxford School News with John Ochins. Then, filling in for Jamie Hughes is Cody Wright with your Oxford Sports. And you don't want to miss Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
I'm Terry Stiles, and this is Oxford News This Week, where we bring your news closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
I'm John Ochins, and welcome to the Oxford Wildcats School Update. A big win for our team Torque 2137 at the Waterford Kettering Regionals a few days ago. Team members Mike Stublinski, Zach Spencer, and Brad Taylor fill us in.
So we ended up ranking 3rd in the competition, which was really good for us. We were really happy about that. And then we selected a team from Clarkston, Rush 27, as our first pick. And went through the tournament and ended up winning the tournament, which was really cool for us and really happy.
It's interesting how the alliance system works. The kids explain.
So the way the selection process works is teams 1 through 8 are ranked accordingly to their average ranking points. And then from there, the teams can select teams ranked below them to join their alliance to team up for playoffs. And then you play on an 8-team elimination bracket.
What made you choose Clarkston?
We really liked how their robot worked. We really liked their auto program that they had written, so what the robot does when they're not receiving human inputs. So we were really happy with that and really liked the way their shooter works, so that's why we selected them.
2137 actually set a record.
Yeah, so we actually held the world record high score for about 15 minutes till another team, or another alliance from Central Illinois beat us. So we were really happy though with our score, and we were really happy with our alliance.
Okay, so once again you ended up in...
So we ended up winning the event and ranked 3rd for our selection.
Very good, but that wasn't all. You won another award, wasn't you?
Yeah, so we ended up for the 2nd time in a row. We won what's called the Gracious Professionalism Award. And that award, kind of separates robotics kind of from any other, kind of competition. We try and show share as much knowledge as well as tools and, help as we possibly can for other teams.
We're doing pretty well in the state.
So as far as points go, so qualifying points for states, we are currently 8th in the state right now. We're really proud of that and really happy to be ranked that high. But it's kind of proves all the work that we've put in, so we're really happy about that. And we're really happy with our autonomous, which is a big reason we're in that high in rankings. So autonomous is the pre-programmed section of each match. It's 15 seconds long, and the robot acts completely off pre-programmed actions and positions, so there's no driver input whatsoever. As far as we know, we have one of the best autons in the state, and it works really well with our alliance partners, and hoping to work really well with future alliance partners.
Next is states. That's in Saginaw, April 12th through 15th. Good luck. Over at Auto Tech, Dan Balsley and his kids had their brake competition. Our Janet Warner paid a visit.
It's a great motivator. It boosts the kids' enthusiasm and interest and dedication. Before I started doing this, the kids really didn't want to touch brakes. We'd teach suspension and they'd get good at it, and then I'd teach brakes and they said, I'd just rather do suspension, but that's not the way it works. Cars come in and need brakes. And so I needed to find a way to motivate them, and so I started timing them, and I would say, well, he did this brake job in 10 minutes. Can you do that better? And so I started bringing in a stopwatch, and I'd start giving away prizes, and I got the idea to involve the community. So I started getting sponsorship from the community, and it just grew into an event. And it's a great motivator. It's done what I hoped and so much more. The kids not only know how to do brakes, but they're practicing to be their best. They'll take the brake units home at night and practice in the evenings and weekends. They'll come in early before school so they can practice brakes. So they really know brakes, which was my goal, and they have a great time doing it. They enjoy the event. They look forward to the competition. So it's really taken on a life of its own.
First place went to Max Zeiger and Mitch Essenmacher. The girls took second place, Natalie Beetham and Serenity Grant. Third place, Nolan Shirkey and Ryan Cobb. In fourth was Joey Wilkins and Trent Meyer. Next is the mites competition, and that's a biggie. We received news that Oxford High School Principal Todd Dunkley is resigning at the end of the school year to pursue other opportunities. Todd came to us from Lake Orion Schools in 2010. I respect Todd as an educator and as a friend, and I wish him well. They have not announced his replacement. Finally, we want you to take note of a blood drive coming up at OES on April 13th. Teacher Shannon Hay is in charge.
Anyone is welcome and encouraged to come give blood if they can. They can register on the website and just go to redcrossblood.org, and you can search for our school by zip code, or you can enter the Oxford ES. And you just make a short appointment, and you come in, and they do a questionnaire, and then they take blood, and there's different levels of giving.
That's April 13th, 2 through 8. That's the Oxford School Update for this week. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
What's happening, Oxford fans? Cody Wright here with your sports report. Spring is here, although the weather might not have arrived yet. The sports seasons are off to the races. Wednesday, the 22nd, our girls soccer took on Swartz Creek at home. It was cold up on that hill, but that didn't stop these girls. The JV club wasn't able to pull off a win against the Creek Strong Gals. However, the varsity match was a nail-biter, ending in a final score with a tie 1-1, with Maddie Eschberg scoring the tying goal with under 5 minutes left to play. It looks like we have an exciting season ahead of us, and hopefully warmer one as well. Also, boys lacrosse took Lapeer on at home Thursday the 23rd. Both JV and varsity teams taking it hard to Lapeer, JV winning 10-0 and varsity 11-1. Not a bad way to start off the seasons as well. I'd now like to switch our attention now to the Special Olympics. The LOFT program here at Oxford High School gives special education students and athletes the chance to go to school and play sports and compete against other programs. I have here with me today a special guest and close friend of mine, and probably yours, David Michaels.
All right, so I know a lot of people from Oxford. You're a big hit, man. I mean, a lot of people know you. You played basketball for Oxford for how many years?
4 years.
For 4 years, okay. And now you switched, you moved.
Yep.
And you're playing for who?
Lake Orion.
Our rival schools. And I remember you were a big trash talker of Lake Orion before, and now you're playing for them. So how many years have you been playing there?
3 years.
3 years, okay. So for the program, for the LOFT program, how old can you be? How long can you play in that program?
It'd be 26.
26.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, that's great because then you got all these students. Some of them are of a high school age. They're at the high school. They're playing, and then a lot of them are a lot older then, and they get to stay in school a lot longer, right? Do you plan on doing that? Staying in?
Maybe not. Maybe.
Maybe?
Yeah.
I think you should, man. I really do. So, basketball season ended. When's it start back up?
January.
January, you're going to be playing?
Yes.
For Lake Orion?
Yes.
Okay, and you'll be taking on Oxford, I'm sure?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and you going to be playing any other sports in the Special Olympics?
Yep, soccer.
Soccer. Okay, when's that start?
In April.
April, okay. And have you played soccer before?
Yes.
You have? You played for Oxford?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I see you got a gold medal on there. Why don't you tell us about that a little bit?
Let's see.
Tell us about the gold medal.
I walked a good team. I went back.
Well, what year did you went to states?
Yeah, I went to state my leg grade, yeah.
11th grade,
I lost to a good team.
You lost to a good team, yeah.
My senior year, I went back to states.
Yeah.
I won that gold medal.
So your 12th grade season, you won the gold medal. Okay, so the 11th grade, and you played the same team both years?
Yes.
Wow, that was probably one of your favorite memories playing, I
Yes.
bet. I bet it was. All right, well, last question for you here. What do you do to stay in shape in the off season?
You need to do lots of running.
Lots of running?
Drink lots of water.
Okay.
Be in shape. Practice your games, shooting.
Okay. So
work out, eat healthy. Stay healthy if you can.
There you go. So you got working out, eating healthy, and practice.
Yep.
Well, there you have it, guys. That's the secret to success. You got it from a great athlete like David Michaels. So we'll be hopefully following up on some games and events, and hopefully see you soon.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to check out oxfordathletics.org for upcoming spring events, and go to our website, occtv.org. We post a lot of our coverage on YouTube, and that can be accessed through our website. Again, that's occtv.org. And that should wrap things up for this week. I want to thank you guys for watching. You have a good day.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, A, B, or O, a paper-based test could reveal your blood type in just half a minute, allowing hospitals to rapidly administer the right blood in an emergency. The test could be particularly useful in war zones or remote areas where there are no labs to carry out blood typing. Knowing your blood type is essential if you ever need a transfusion, because a mismatch can send the immune system into meltdown. But conventional blood typing takes 10 to 20 minutes, so most emergency departments stock only a type of O blood. This is safer because it lacks the antigens that trigger immune reactions, but supplies are limited. Now, Hong Zhang at the 3rd Military Medical University in China and his colleagues have developed a rapid test that anyone can perform at a patient's bedside. Each low-cost paper strip is impregnated with a matrix of dyes and antibodies that recognize antigens on the surface of red blood cells. When blood is applied, squares of color develop depending on which antigens are present, revealing the sample's blood type. In trials of 3,550 human blood samples, the strip was more than 99.9% accurate and only took 30 seconds to produce results. Nice invention. And in the jungle, wild kias of New Zealand spontaneously burst into play when exposed to the parrot equivalent of canned laughter, making them the first birds to respond to laughter-like sounds as far as we know. The parrots soar after one another in an aerobatic loop, exchange foot-kicking high fives in midair, and toss objects to each other in what seems to be contagious behavior. And when the recording stops, so does the party, and the birds resume whatever they've been doing. We already know these half-meter-tall parrots engage in playful behavior, especially when young. That's new. What's new, that is that special warbling call they make has been shown to trigger behavior equivalent to spontaneous, contagious laughter in humans, or so it seems. Moreover, it's not just the young ones that respond. Adults of both sexes join in the fun too. On hearing the calls, many birds started to spontaneously play with non-playing birds, or with an object close by, or performing aerial acrobatics, says Raoul Schwing at the University of Veterinary Medicine in Vienna, Austria. The average number of play bouts per bird monitored was 20 times higher, and the length of play 90-fold longer during the warble recordings. It meant that humans and their closest relatives might not be the only species capable of emotional contagion. And on the medical front, an emerging fungus could become the latest hospital-acquired infection we have to worry about. On March 16th, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported that 53 people in the U.S. have been taken ill with Candida auris, most of them in New York State. A further 27 healthy carriers of the fungus have been identified in 3 states where clinical cases were detected. People at highest risk are those with weak immune systems, including premature babies, people with diabetes, people on dialysis, and those who have had recent transplants or other invasive surgeries. Unlike most common yeast infections, C. auris doesn't usually cause thrush, but results in bloodstream, wound, or ear infections instead, triggering organ failure in the worst cases. Although information isn't available for all patients, the death rate could be as high as 60%. However, because patients usually contract the infection while hospitalized with other major illnesses, it's difficult to be sure whether any deaths can be attributed solely to C. auris. C. auris was first identified in Japan in 2009. Since then, infections have been reported in countries including Canada, Colombia, Germany, India, Israel, Kenya, Kuwait, and many others. Between May of 2013 and August of 2016, the first 13 cases were reported in the U.S. Since then, the number of infections has tripled, signaling a spike in reported cases. Some strains of the fungus are resistant to all 3 major classes of antifungal drugs, and it's pretty difficult to find new antibiotics. It's harder to find new antifungals, says David Demings of the University Hospital in South Manchester in the UK. Humans and fungi share many common metabolic pathways, so lots of agents that kill fungi are too toxic for human use. C. auris has the potential to be a really difficult problem, Denning says. However, he stresses that the majority of people don't need to worry about becoming infected. Few drug manufacturers are currently focusing on developing antifungal compounds, but Denning says some promising oral and intravenous treatments are being developed in the UK, Japan, and Sweden. It remains to be seen whether they will work against this stubborn infection. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television. Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, Volkswagen will launch the T-Roc compact crossover in the United States in 2019, slotting it below the Mexican-built Tiguan after U.S. dealers give a firm commitment that they can sell enough of the vehicle to make it profitable. Since the U.S. is built to stock rather than built to order, a source at the company told Automotive News the decision ultimately depended on whether VW's 650 retail partners would vote in favor of the introduction. While the decision to move ahead with the T-Roc has been made, other key factors are undecided. It remains unclear, for example, whether the model will be built in VW's Chattanooga plant in Puebla, Mexico, or even imported from its European factory in Portugal. Moreover, the 2017 model year Tiguan, imported currently from Germany, may continue to be sold alongside the longer base version of the 2018 Tiguan as long as there is a demand for it. This could mean that dealers have 3 SUVs, both Tiguans and the new Atlas, to offer customers until the T-Roc lands 2 years from now, potentially increasing Tiguan's volume beyond the current 3,500 sold a month. And the T-Roc may be renamed for the U.S. When asked about the product strategy for the U.S., VW brand chief Herbert Diess confirmed in Wolfsburg on March 14th that both North and South America would get a vehicle positioned below the Tiguan. It was only yesterday that we decided on an additional SUV for 2019, he told reporters after the company's annual results press conference in Wolfsburg. Former VW dealer chairman Alan Brown told Automotive News last March that the concept was popular with his colleagues, so it was more a question of affordability. Everybody loves T-Rock. Everybody, Brown said. The only concern is whether it's going to be priced outside the market where it wouldn't do the volume that it deserves to do. The T-Rock launches this August in Europe and will come optional with all-wheel drive. Can't wait. And back home, and still on VW, Volkswagen's efforts to put its diesel emissions violation behind it hit a minor speed bump last week when the city of Pontiac, Michigan, filed a lawsuit against the owners of the dilapidated Pontiac Silverdome, where thousands of VW diesel models are being stored after the company brought them back from customers. The Silverdome, the former home of the NFL's Detroit Lions and host of countless monster truck shows, is in violation of Pontiac's building and safety codes, zoning ordinances, and municipal code, in part for the storage of used cars on the lot, according to charges filed last week. The complaints, first reported by the Oakland Press, were filed against Silverdome owner Triple Investment Group, based in Detroit, in the 50th District Court of Pontiac. One of the zoning ordinance's violations includes not having the necessary permit to park or store vehicles on the outside of a building. Thousands of VW and Audi models with diesel engines are being stored on the north and west parking lots of the stadium in Pontiac. Each vehicle is tagged, "This vehicle is not for sale." VW said it's confirming with its service provider that all permits which allow the vehicles to be stored at the Silverdome are up to date, per their contract, a VW spokesman told Automotive News. "We have not admitted responsibility to any of the citations," said attorney J. Patrick Lennon, a partner in Honnigan, Miller, Schwartz & Kahn, which represents the Triple Investment Company. "We recognize the city's positions and have been actively working with them. At this stage, we are both currently trying to reach across the table rather than pound on it. We hope a resolution can be reached in the near future." As part of a sweeping settlement with U.S. regulators over widespread emissions violations, vehicles equipped with VW's 2-liter TDI diesel engines have been repurchased from owners, removed from the dealerships, and stored at regional sites. These vehicles will be held and routinely maintained until it is determined whether an approved emissions modification becomes available, VW said in a statement. If approved, the settlement allows Volkswagen to modify affected 2-liter TDI vehicles so they can be returned to commerce or exported. Vehicles which aren't modified will be recycled, whatever that means. The company said it's removed about 25% of 475,000 2-liter TDI vehicles from the road in the nearly 4 months since the buyback program began. VW pleaded guilty this month to felony counts of conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and introducing imported merchandise by means of false statements for its emission cheating devices. 7 VW executives have been indicted because of the emissions violations. Wow. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways.